The story begins with cosmic rays interfering, causing some plants and animals on Earth to evolve into new creatures, which humans call phantom beasts. This year's animal tamer qualification exam will be held next month. The name of the boy ahead is Li Wen-xuan. He is 18 years old, and in order to treat his sister's leg illness, he abandoned his studies and his dream of becoming an animal tamer to work as a low-level phantom beast miner. A voice is announced in the city saying that the show has invited Kylie, one of the strongest S-rank animal tamers in the world, to explain this to everyone. Most phantom beasts need ores of the same attribute to evolve, but some phantom beasts with special attributes can evolve in other ways. And they ask if Miss Rita Kylie would be willing to elaborate. She replies, of course, and that some phantom beasts with special attributes can evolve by absorbing specific emotions. Meanwhile, the protagonist keeps walking. Some phantom beasts have replaced jobs originally done by humans, while humans unable to tame animals must take on lower-level jobs to survive, such as phantom beast miners. Phantom beast miners are those who enter the realms of phantom beasts to extract ores of different attributes. Although the ores used to raise the level of phantom beasts are valuable, miners' wages are very low. Lee thinks there is no way around it. After all, who made phantom beasts not only work harder than humans, but also be cuter? So Wen asks for 2 meat buns for the animal that is working. Someone calls out to him saying he arrived early today and that he can take and try some from the new popular ghost beast shop. Zhuan thanks Uncle Wang. Civilians nearby say that shameless brat is here again, and with such a small build he will never be able to carry many ores, yet he still receives the same pay as them. The protagonist thinks he knows they are dissatisfied, wondering if they could lower their voices since they are embarrassing him. Wang tells the two to shut up and asks how old his nephew is compared to them. And besides, if his nephew were not trying to cure his sister's illness, he would have become a tamer long ago. Lee says it is true, his physical condition is not great, but he will try his best to carry more ores this time. Wang asks what he's talking about and insists those two are clearly wrong. A voice asks if, judging by the way they are arguing, they are ready to enter the secret realm, and if anyone else needs to prepare, otherwise they will enter now. The warrior ahead releases his energy, summoning the portal, stepping forward to enter. Looking back briefly but continuing all the way through, the others also enter, and one thinks that this time he must carry more ores so that others will stop talking about him. A voice asks how they should divide the work today, the same as before. 2 young men comment that since old Wang wanted to take care of his nephew, they will put them together in a group. Zhuan gets irritated and says it is fine if they trouble him, but not his uncle. Wang says it is fine, they will just ignore it and go. Later, elsewhere, they are collecting ore, and the protagonist apologizes for dragging him into this. Wang sighs, asking what he is saying since they will simply do their best. Lee says it is fine. An hour later, Wen is very tired and thinks he cannot let his uncle's trust down. No matter how tired he is, he must endure. A very loud noise is heard, and Zhuan asks what is happening. They immediately run to see and realize one of them has been killed by a beast, while the leader there is completely calm about it. Civilians get angry seeing this and tell him to do something since the beast bit someone to death and he is an animal tamer. He cannot just stand there doing nothing. He should quickly call emergency services. The tamer says not to worry, his nightmare wolf will eliminate them all. The wolf charges at them and begins biting. The protagonist freezes, remembering that Rita said some shadow-type phantom beasts can evolve into more powerful individuals by devouring human negative emotions, for example anger, despair, among others, and that if you encounter these phantom beasts in the wild, you must be very careful. In the present moment, Lee tells everyone not to run around and to gather together, not to panic, otherwise they will make the nightmare wolf stronger. The tamer wants to use everyone's panic to evolve the wolf, so they must not panic. It is better to unite and then the wolf will not be invincible. The tamer says he didn't expect that someone who looked so fragile would have such a clear mind. Just as he said, his wolf with shadow attributes needs to devour the negative emotions of their deaths to evolve. So now he will give them 2 options. Either they listen to the words of that brat, unite, and fight against his nightmare wolf to see if they can subdue it before it eliminates everyone, or they eliminate each other, allowing his nightmare wolf to absorb enough energy to evolve. The civilians look at each other and Wen thinks he can't let him fool everyone. He needs to find a way to calm them down. If this continues, everyone will surely start killing each other. Then Zhuan notices something on the man's arm and wonders if it is the tattoo of the criminal organization Phantom Beast, the Shadow Hunters group, and whether he is a criminal. The tamer says he will give them 5 seconds to think, and the criminal starts counting down. The protagonist tells everyone to stay calm and not believe him because he is not a good person at all. Suddenly, Lee feels something strange. He is struck and begins spitting plasma, thinking that he had clearly told those idiots to calm down. Wen looks back and realizes it was his uncle, asking why he did that. Trembling, Wang replies not to blame him. that he doesn't want to lose his life either. He says he has already taken care of him so much before, and asks if it isn't right that he'd lose his life for himself today, since he has a wife and children at home while Wen has nothing. He says he doesn't want to fight the nightmare wolf. It is impossible to win against phantom beasts, and so he would rather live for himself and his family. Zhuan calls him a bastard, and the protagonist turns to punch him, but is hit first and falls to the ground, calling them all a bunch of bastards. Everyone looks at him lying on the ground, but they keep attacking each other. The tamer says it is wonderful that the nightmare can quickly absorb these negative emotions and reach the next stage. The criminal continues watching them fight, very excited, thinking he never expected that the energy produced by them killing each other would be even greater than if he killed them himself, and that it truly is wonderful. Later, in the same place, after many civilians have been killed, a few survive. Wang asks if they themselves survived. Li, lying on the ground, severely injured, asks his uncle what they should do. Wang looks at him, sighs, and kicks him into the water, saying that they suffered a mining accident today, and that about what happened, not a single word can escape. They will arrange their stories before leaving. Wen falls into the water, wondering if he's finished, thinking he doesn't want to die, and wondering what will happen to Xiao Yan, who will take care of her. Zhuan remembers his sister telling him to come home earlier today, and to remember to eat lunch, and also remembers his uncle saying he could not die and had to survive. Li thinks he must take revenge on all those damned tamers. Something with dark eyes watches him and thinks that with such a strong desire for revenge, this human could be well used. It says that it, the Emperor, will entrust its power to him, hoping he can take this world that enslaves them and completely destroy it. The power enters Wen's body, then the water begins to move and Li raises his hand, managing to stand up fully. Looking ahead, noticing that those bastards seem to be gone, Wen emerges from the water holding a plush bear, coughing up the water he swallowed. Zhuan realizes his wound has healed and wonders if that unconscious strawberry cat saved him, since as far as he knows, strawberry cats should not have healing abilities. Then he receives a system notification showing that the Phantom Beast evolution system has been activated. The protagonist asks what this thing is that looks like a game interface. More notifications arrive about a mission to establish a Phantom Beast contract with the strawberry cat. Li wonders about Phantom Beast contracts and if that means he can become a beast tamer, since he needs to become one to avenge those bastards. Wen looks at the cat and thinks that although he doesn't know why the strawberry cat appeared there, since it is there, he will make it his Phantom Beast. The cat lets out a sound and Zhuan asks if it is awake. The cat takes a fighting stance, releasing energy around its body, about to strike. The protagonist says to wait, that it is not his intention. It was the cat itself that saved him from the bottom of the lake. Without hesitation, the cat strikes him down to the ground. Li calls it a damned thing, and the two face each other. Later, outside the portal, sounds are heard and Wen comes out holding the cat. A voice says there is movement in the portal. It seems someone came out and they need to go check. Zhuan thinks he cannot let them know he is still alive and wonders if that is the leader of another mining team. Two young men run to the portal and see nothing. They find it strange, asking if they misheard, but say it's impossible that anyone else came out alive. They comment that Wang had very bad luck today. Many of his close friends lost their lives in the mine, and when he came out, he was screaming at the top of his lungs, wanting to run back to save people. Luckily, the overseer stopped him. They also heard that the whereabouts of the animal tamer are unknown. This is not something the two should worry about. It has already been 5 hours since the mining accident, and it's impossible that anyone else is still alive. The protagonist thinks that if that bastard Wang hadn't stabbed him first, many people wouldn't have died, and that he himself will make him pay the price. Then Li reaches a place on fire and wonders what happened. A woman notices him and asks where he went, saying his house is burning, that she already called the police, the fire department will arrive soon, and asks about the girl if she didn't come out with him. Wen, desperate, runs straight there, shouting for his sister. The woman tells him not to be impulsive because the fire is too big for him to withstand. Zhuan enters the building, bangs on the door, and asks if his sister is inside and if she can hear him. His sister calls back to him. The protagonist tells her to wait, he will save her now. He grabs the key and desperately tries to open it, but it won't unlock. Li keeps trying until he breaks the door down, falling to the floor and calling for his sister. The door closes again. Wen looks and realizes the lock is in his hand, grits his teeth angrily, and starts kicking the door. His sister tells him not to worry and just to leave. Zhuan slams the floor asking for help, begging who can save his sister who is only 13 years old. The strawberry cat has absorbed the energy of his anger and is about to awaken. The cat wakes up, runs straight to the door, slams into it, and manages to open it. His sister is there. The protagonist watches, and the strawberry cat smiles happily, proud of its success. In the forest, a voice says they caught a firefox yesterday and it's amazing. Voices around respond that they also caught an ice snow dog yesterday, and today want to try their luck to see if there's a wind-type phantom beast. Li sits on a log, thinking he needs to find a powerful phantom beast as quickly as possible and become a beast tamer. Only then can he keep his sister safe. 12 hours earlier, his sister said it was unbelievable that something like that happened, and asked if they should call the police. Wen answered no, that dealing with that bastard Wang is one thing, but if that animal tamer finds out he is still alive, he will definitely come back to attack him again. He tells her not to worry, that he won't let her be in danger again. In the present, people walk past Xuan and say that stupid brat actually signed a contract with a strawberry cat, and he's obviously a novice, wasting one of the only contract slots a beginner animal tamer has on a strawberry cat, asking if he's lost his mind. The protagonist looks and wonders what's wrong with these guys' phantom beasts and why they're so weak. Lee can see their stats through the system and wonders if there is something wrong with this strawberry cat, and if a strawberry cat really can have those attributes. A boy comes running, begging for help, saying there's a level 2 phantom beast in the forest. People ask if this forest isn't supposed to be the habitat of the lowest level phantom beasts and how there could be a level 2 here. A confident boy asks if capturing that level 2 phantom beast wouldn't make someone invincible among beginner beast tamers and asks if anyone knows what it is. The blonde replies that it was very fast, he only caught a glimpse of its silhouette, estimating that it's probably a level 2 lightning cat. The blonde keeps running, terrified. Wen thinks it's better not to get involved in this mess. He doesn't want to go through something like the Wang incident again. Xuan calls his animal to catch phantom beast with him. The strawberry cat growls, and the protagonist thinks that first, he needs to find a phantom beast that will fully listen to him, and tells it to stop eating because it's time to work. Later they walk and Lee tells his animal not to run around because even though this is a low-level phantom beast secret realm, it's still very dangerous. The cat ignores him and Wen wonders why he always feels like this cat needs a beating. Then he comes across threads across his face and looks in shock to see it's a spider. It jumps to the ground and the protagonist panics. He checks its stats and thinks something isn't right. Sweet spiders have extremely gentle personalities. So how exactly did he provoke it into fury? Could he have stumbled on something just now? Lee looks to the side, noticing his cat standing still, and says, "It's the culprit." The spider makes a sound. Wanting to attack, the strawberry cat also charges forward, and Wen tells it not to go, asking how a level 5 novice like him dares to fight an 8th level sweet spider. The spider shoots web at the cat, and Xuan thinks he finally understands why no animal tamer wants strawberry cats. The cat falls to the ground completely covered in web. The protagonist grabs the animal and runs away quickly. The spider chases after him, and Lee says it's catching up. The spider spits a liquid at them, knocking them far away. Wen falls from a very high place, and meanwhile the spider walks to the edge of the cliff to watch them, until it is struck by water and frozen by a boy who approaches the cliff's edge, looking down at them on the ground. Later, Xuan is still lying on the ground, opens his eyes, and sits up with his head aching. When the protagonist realizes, he is sitting on top of the cat and apologizes, asking how it ended up there, and says that, by the way, looking at the surroundings, it seems they fell into the western forest valley. Then noises are heard, and the strawberry cat has just struck a sheep. Lee thinks sheep should also be very docile phantoms, and wonders why all the phantom beasts he saw today are so irritable, and if he himself could really be that punchable. He thinks it's truly a possibility. Seeing the cat's attitude, sometimes even he wants to hit it. Wen approaches the sheep and notices it is still unconscious, and wonders if it still shows signs of rage. He thinks that's wrong. If it's not the problem of the phantom beasts, then something is wrong with this valley. He needs to get out before the strawberry cat also starts having problems. He tells it to follow. Probably they need to get out through there, they need to leave quickly. The strawberry cat turns its back, and Xuan thinks this guy already has a problem, shouting if it can't hear that it's dangerous there. Then they come across something, and the protagonist asks if there really is a human building there, and if the cat brought him there on purpose. Lee looks up and wonders about the red smoke. The place grows gloomy and sounds begin echoing. Wen wonders what that terrifying sound is, and asks if the cat is telling him to go inside. Xuan picks up a piece of wood and says it's all right. They stand at the door and the protagonist smells something pungent. Then Lee enters and asks what this place is. Around them there are several cages, and in one of them there is a badly injured ice dog. Wen asks how it got hurt like that and asks the cat if it can break the lock. The cat breaks it, and Xuan thinks that at least this guy finally proved useful. The protagonist strokes the dog and asks if it's all right. Lee checks the dog's status through the system and wonders who could do such a cruel thing. Even though he only has the lowest level healing potion now, he hopes it works, but he can only try. The dog is very scared, trembling all over, and Wen says he is trying to help and it doesn't need to be afraid, to wait just a little longer. Xuan starts giving the healing potion to the dog and thinks that all the phantom beasts there have suffered cruelly. Someone is conducting extremely vile experiments, and this kind of operation could be the criminal's work. The dog walks up to him and the protagonist asks if it can stand up, then says it's great the potion worked, and asks if it's trying to lead him somewhere. The dog walks to a door and Lee asks if that's a dagger. Wen opens the door and says the smell down there is stronger. It seems to also be an experimental site. They go down the stairs, Zhuan holding a lantern in his hand. As he descends, he wonders if by creating a separate underground area like this, there could be something special in this place. A monster approaches with dark red eyes and opens its enormous mouth, but the protagonist manages to protect the cat so the beast doesn't devour it. Lee looks at the beast ahead and asks if it's the plasma sedentary dog. Wen checks its status and notices something. He realizes there are chains and wonders if this guy was chained there. The dog charges at him and Zhuan shouts not to go and asks if it has a death wish. But in reality, neither attacks the other. They nuzzle instead. The protagonist looks surprised to see this. The frozen dog begins barking, and Lee asks if it is telling him to go there, and says to promise not to attack, and he himself will follow. The frozen dog goes ahead. Wen walks behind and notices something to the side. Experiment records. They say that on the experiment day, they finally got new test subjects, capturing 2 ice dogs at once today, apparently mother and son, which was a stroke of luck. Experiment. Day 9. Forced the ice dog to devour the corpses of other phantom beasts. Truly looking forward to it. Experiment Day 15. This one is a bit hard to handle, its willpower is horrifically strong, but they defeated its pup right in front of the larger ice dog and finally enraged her. Experiment Day 20. The ice dog really didn't die, only then could they wait for the great one. An evolution into a bloodthirsty hunting hound, and so they had it personally eat its own child. Perhaps this could make the plasma sedentary dog undergo an unexpected change. After Zhuan reads, he wonders what kind of bastard could do something like this, and tells the plasma hound not to be afraid, that he's here, and tells the cat to break the chains while he figures out how to remove the collar. The strawberry cat breaks the chains, and the protagonist notices and wonders if it's his imagination or if the cat is actually starting to listen. He thinks it doesn't matter. They'll save this bloodthirsty plasma hound first. Lee tries to pull the chain off in several ways until it finally comes loose. He sits on the ground saying he finally managed to remove it. Good thing he's been a miner for years. Anyone else wouldn't have this kind of strength. The ice dog goes up to him and one says he knows and not to rush him. He's just taking a moment and will free its mother now. Next, only one last chain remains. The bloodhound approaches him and Zhuan asks what it's doing, says it's someone's voice, and asks if someone from this experiment site has come. The protagonist tells the cat they should hide first, tells the hound to crouch back into the chains and not to blow their cover. Someone falls to the ground. It's a very frightened boy, begging them not to kill him, swearing he won't tell anyone. Lee, hidden, wonders if this is that animal tamer he met at the secret realm forest entrance and why he's here. The boy is trembling all over, and a blonde man holding an ice dog tells him to relax, that he's actually quite merciful to humans and only tortures phantom beasts. Wen wonders if this isn't the guy who earlier said there was a level 2 phantom beast in the forest, and whether this lab belongs to him. The blonde asks if he wasn't curious why the normally obedient and well-behaved frosthound suddenly attacked him today. The boy asks if he did something to it. The blonde answers that he spread a large amount of blood rose pollen throughout the forest. That can cause all the phantom beasts in the secret realm to go into a frenzy and kill each other. Zhuan realizes that the red smoke outside was that thing. The blonde says it's fine and now he can die in peace. The boy begs him to let go, swearing he won't tell anyone, and adds that if he doesn't come back, the police will surely come investigate. The boy screams desperately, "No!" but ends up being killed mercilessly. The blonde calls him an idiot and asks who cares if an animal tamer dies in a secret realm since it's so common, and both became food for his phantom beasts. The protagonist, hiding, thinks this guy is a complete lunatic and he needs help fast. In a low voice, Lee says he'll take his pup and get out of here, then get help, and asks if the hound can try to distract him. The bloodhound starts growling, and the blonde tells it to stop making noise, asking if it didn't bring something for it to eat. The bloodhound keeps growling, and the blonde wonders why it's so energetic today. Maybe because he killed someone in front of it. Meanwhile, Wen sneaks to the side but runs into a wall, asking what's going on and why there's an ice wall there. Zhuan realizes there's a phantom beast guarding the door. The blonde approaches and says it looks like they caught the little rat sneaking in, and orders the ice demon flower to freeze the legs of the rats. The ice demon flower freezes their feet, leaving them unable to move, and the blonde fires. The protagonist doesn't know what to do and shuts his eyes until someone steps in front, blocking the shot. Lee is confused and, looking to the side, sees the bloodhound has just protected him. The blonde wonders how it got out, and the criminal remembers the broken chains and calls him a bastard, asking if he knew this crazy dog would bite them all to death and what he did. Wen smiles and says his chance for revenge has come. The bloodhound opens its huge mouth, letting out a deafening roar. The blonde orders the ice demon flower to shield him. but the bloodhound devours it before it can even move. The blonde calls it useless trash. The ice binding Zhuan's feet breaks, and the protagonist thinks the ice is dissipating along with the ice demon flower's consciousness. The blonde starts trying to open cages, shouting for all of them to come out and kill that crazy dog. The beasts come out, taking fighting stances, but the bloodhound, with just a few strikes, already throws them far away. The two that remain begin trembling with fear. The blonde orders the snake to go, or else he'll make it wish it were dead. Then the last two charge at the hound. The blonde runs off, thinking it's great, counting on that bunch of trash to hold it off for a while. Lee shouts at them to stop and not even think of running. The cat runs and attacks the enemy, knocking him to the ground. Wen says that after doing something like this, don't think he'll let him escape so easily. The blonde says to wait and raises his hand to activate something. Wen shouts no, and the blonde, very excited, says they are the ones who should be running, and then it's triggered. Smoke begins to spread. Zhuan realizes it's that red smoke. The ice dog's eyes turn frightening. The protagonist sees and thinks this is bad. Now all the phantom beasts will be affected and go mad. The beasts change, filled with the killing intent. Lee grabs his opponent's shirt, calling him a bastard, saying he won't just wipe out all the phantom beasts but will also lose his life. The blonde asks if he really thinks he's as stupid as him. The criminal locks himself inside a cage and says, the only ones who'll die are them. Wen thinks the bloodhound was already unstable and now, under the smoke's influence, it's completely enraged. The bloodhound devours the beast. Zhuan sees and runs with the two animals in his arms, thinking he needs to escape before those two also go mad. The bloodhound notices him running, and the protagonist's feet are frozen by the demon flower. Lee asks if that guy is still alive. The bloodhound growls, and just as it's about to attack, the ice dog barks. The bloodhound realizes something and breaks Wen's frozen feet. Zhuan wonders if it just recognized its own pup even after inhaling so much pollen. The strawberry cat leaps up, using its techniques, unleashing a surge of power skyward that shatters everything above, breaking through the ceiling. The smoke dissipates, and the blonde, shocked, says it's impossible. The protagonist says the next one now is him. The blonde says to wait, admits he was wrong, and begs for mercy. He won't dare do it again. He'll hand over all the phantom beasts and ask to be spared this time. Lee says those animal tamers and phantom beasts he killed also begged for mercy and asks how he answered them. The blonde screams for him to stop, saying if he dares kill him, he won't escape either and will surely be thrown in prison. Wen says that what he says is true, but in a secret realm full of dangers, two animal tamers dying is perfectly normal, isn't it? The blonde grits his teeth, furious, calling him a bastard. The bloodhound charges and devours the blonde. Zhuan calls the cat to go. The bloodhound bites his shirt and the protagonist asks what's wrong. The bloodhound points toward its pup, and Lee asks if it wants him to take care of its son. The system notifies that the bloodhound's condition is near death. Wen picks up the ice dog in his arms and promises he'll take care of it. Zhuan walks away while the bloodhound watches him leave. Later, still in the forest, the protagonist walks and wonders how he can form a contract with these two phantom beasts. He thinks he's tried the online methods several times, but they didn't work. He decides to handle the contract later. This little guy must be exhausted. And first, he'll figure out the evolution method. It seems the evolution materials for the ice dog aren't too hard to find. Lee wonders what's wrong with this cat, thinking these numbers look like a total display error, but apparently it only needs one evolution crystal, and he doesn't know if that should be considered lucky or unlucky. People nearby talk about lives being lost in the mining area recently, and many animal tamers also dying in the secret realms. Wen thinks of the mining area and goes up to two young men talking, asking if they could take the trouble to explain the details of what's happening in the mining area. They answer yes. In another area, a giant beast is chasing people and devouring them mercilessly. That beast is being controlled by the tamer from before, who says good thing he didn't kill him the first time, or else where would he find such an obedient dog as him? Wang says he'll do anything for him. The criminal says he already helped him kill more than 10 miners. His nightmare wolf once again reached its advancement limit. Wang replies that it's what he should do. The tamer says that's why, based on his performance, the organization has allowed him to reward him with an extra phantom beast. Jiangguo gets very excited, saying it's an honor, and asks if he can also become an animal tamer. The criminal replies, of course, and that he already said the organization won't mistreat anyone who contributes fairly. Wang thanks him, and the tamer tells him to dispose of the miners' bodies. They need to bring more people tomorrow. The next day, in the forest mine, Jiangguo sees someone in a hood, walks over wanting to talk to him. The protagonist realizes it's his uncle, and Wang says that judging by his clothes, he must be new. He introduces himself, stating his name and also saying he is the leader of this mining team, and that he'll have to trouble him to take care of everything today, until Lee notices something. Someone approaches and asks how he can be so rude to Foreman Wang. This is Chen, who says she will also be going under Foreman Wang's command today. Wen thinks this woman is crazy and wonders why the team would go against child labor rules, saying minors aren't allowed in the mines. Chen, irritated, says she is already an adult. Wang steps up and tells everyone to get ready, that they are heading to the mine. Chen thinks this mine is where people keep dying, and that she needs to uncover the truth behind the deaths. Only then can she hold her head high in the team and stop those guys from looking down on her. Zhuan wonders if this is also her first time mining and says her expression looks very tense. Zhang tells them to head out. They begin entering through the portal, and the protagonist thinks he's back here again and hopes it isn't what he suspects. Wang says what he's holding is fire cloud ore, which they will be mining this time. Afterward, everyone can split into groups, at least 2 people per group. If an accident happens during mining, they should call for help immediately. Now, let's get to work. People start forming groups. Chen is left out. Li notices and asks her, if no one wants to team with her, what she thinks about mining with him instead. Chen asks who said no one wanted her since she's very strong, and says she thinks he's the one nobody wants. Wen says if she's unwilling, he'll just ask someone else. Chen pulls him and says it's fine. She'll help him this time. He just better not drag her down. Zhuan looks at her and asks if this is her first time mining. Chen admits it is, but says he doesn't need to worry. When it comes to endurance, she's pretty confident. The protagonist says that's not what he meant. He only wanted to remind her that it's better not to get close to Wang and that she should try to stay away from that man. Chen asks what he means by that and if he knows something. Li replies it's just advice. Whether she listens or not is up to her. After mining for quite some time, Chen wipes her forehead, very tired. Wen says it's more exhausting than he imagined. A very loud noise is heard. They both look back and run to see what happened. When they arrive, they find a huge crystal ore. The civilians are shocked, saying they're rich. A man nearby says he was the one who dug it up, and that he'll keep the largest share when they divide the money. His partner says this time he's struck it rich. An ore of that size could sell for at least 5 million. Liu smiles and says when they finish the job, he'll treat everyone to a good meal. Wang thinks all that ore is his anyway, and luckily, that animal tamer had to prepare evolution materials yesterday and won't be coming today. Otherwise, such a huge ore would probably fall into his hands. If he simply kills this person and takes the ore for himself, in the future he could become even stronger than that animal tamer. Liu says according to the rules, he himself gets 6 shares. 1 share goes to the mining association and the 3 remaining are divided among everyone. Jian stares at him and says he's right. Then Wang draws his blade and slashes his throat, spraying plasma everywhere, and Liu's body falls to the ground. The people look shocked, saying he killed someone, and ask what's happening. Jian says today this ore belongs only to him and asks who agrees and who opposes. The protagonist thinks since he stopped acting human at all, there's no need to blame him. Someone shouts Wang's name and he wonders how the police got in and if he's been exposed. Chen aims her weapon and tells him to drop his weapon right now. The people feel relieved seeing there's a police officer. John drops his weapon, thinking he can't believe that damned girl is actually a cop. Chen keeps aiming at him and tells the others to quickly treat the injured and call an ambulance. Wang says he truly didn't expect her to be a police officer and really lost to her. Chen asks if he really thought he could do these things without anyone knowing. Li thinks something feels wrong about him, that he shouldn't be this docile. Jian makes a hand movement and Wen shouts for her to be careful and dodge quickly, but she is struck. The officer tries to evade, but her body still gets grazed, and she falls to the ground, wondering what's happening and why she suddenly can't move. Then Chen finds herself face to face with a huge phantom beast, a centipede with a poisonous stinger. Wang laughs and says she underestimates him too much. Of course he came prepared. Jian grabs her weapon and asks if she likes playing in disguise, saying that today he'll make sure she never leaves. The policewoman tells everyone to run, but Wang says for everyone to stop, and if anyone dares run, he'll shoot immediately. They freeze. Jian says he can give them all a chance as long as they come and beat the policewoman to death. He guarantees he'll let them live and asks what they think. Chen tells them not to believe him. There are only 3 bullets left in his gun, he can't kill everyone, and as long as someone escapes to call the police, he will surely be brought to justice. Wang tells her not to be naive, asking which idiot would step up first and take the bullets, saying that today they will be just like he was back then, choosing to kill in exchange for their own survival. That is human nature. Then the protagonist lands a punch on him, knocking him far away and down to the ground, saying it's been a long time, asking if he still recognizes this face. Jian looks and says he really didn't die. Li asks if he expected this. Wang says that night he tried to burn his sister to death, but the next day there was no news of her dying in a fire, so he figured he probably wasn't dead. And he's tough. He stabbed him 3 times himself, had those miners beat him with shovels for so long, and he still survived. People start wondering what to do, saying not even the policewoman can protect herself. They thought they were saved, but it was all in vain. Jian asks didn't he warn them that as long as they kill these two, he would let them live. The people, frightened, say he's forcing them to become his accomplices. Wang says that once they're in the same boat, he won't need to kill them. So why hesitate? The people say it seems they have no choice. They raise their weapons. Wen looks back and says, it doesn't matter. Their choice is their freedom after all. The law of the jungle. The men move and Zhuan is surprised. Jian gets angry that they're moving against him, asking if they don't want to live anymore. They tell him to stop this nonsense. They're not so cowardly as to kill a child just to save their own skins, and that he should run and take the girl with him, since this is between adults. The protagonist is still stunned. Wang says since they're asking for death, he won't blame them. Jian aims his gun and says they'll die, calling them a bunch of disobedient idiots. A strike hits Wang's hand, knocking the gun away. People look, asking what that was. John, injured, asks if he's an animal tamer. It was the ice dog that just struck him. The people are shocked, saying this young man is actually an animal tamer, even at his age. And that's great. Now they're truly saved. Wang, furious, asks how a mere dog dares call him a phantom beast and orders his poisonous stinger centipede to attack and kill those beasts. The centipede releases venom, and Wen orders the ice dog to block it. The ice dog unleashes its own attack, successfully blocking and striking back. The centipede dodges and burrows underground. People are surprised, asking if that insect can really dig into the ground. Jian laughs and says, if he kneels and begs for mercy now, he might consider sparing his life. Zhuan says no matter how much he begs, he'll never spare him. Wang says he doesn't know what's good for him and orders the centipede to kill this arrogant brat. The centipede screeches and appears beside the protagonist, but a strike from the strawberry cat knocks it down to the ground. John is stunned, asking how this is possible. Li asks, didn't he warn him, saying he won't let him go? Wang asks how he can have the two best phantoms. Wen picks the gun up from the ground, and just as he's about to kill him, Chen steps in and tells him to stop. He can't kill him. After what he does, there will be no turning back. She says to leave it to her. She'll make sure he faces the trial he deserves. Zhuan, pinned under her, says he understands, but to get up quickly because he can't breathe. The strawberry cat smiles. The people are relieved, saying it's great, they're saved. They really seem safe this time. The policewoman cuffs Wang and tells him now he needs to come back to the station with her. She asks the protagonist what exactly he's doing and tells him to return with her and explain everything, and that everyone must leave this place now. Then a very loud noise begins echoing. Li says the rock walls are damaged everywhere and fears the mine is going to collapse and everyone needs to run. Everyone starts running and shouting that the mine is collapsing. Rocks begin to fall to the ground, and Chen thinks her body can barely move. She still can't use her strength freely, and then she notices a rock about to fall on her head. Zhuan pulls her aside and tells his beast to help her escape first. He'll follow after. He also tells the policewoman to hurry, that he'll drag Wang out for her. A very large stone falls between them, causing a loud crash, and Chen asks if he's all right. The protagonist replies that he is fine, and for her to go quickly, he'll find a way out. Wang laughs and says he looks like that. Went through so much trouble to bring him down, but in the end, he'll be trapped here to die with him, keeping him company to the very end. Li says once again he will never spare him. He didn't kill him earlier out of mercy, but only because there were too many eyes watching, and now he deliberately stayed behind. Jian panics and asks what he means. Wen points the gun and says it's simply to kill him, and that the recent and frequent mining accidents in the mine's pit were in fact all caused by him, and asks why he did it. Wang replies that he was forced. If he didn't help kill people, someone would expose the fact that he himself had killed people. The protagonist asks if that he mentioned is the animal tamer from that day. John replies that's right, he could help lure him out. Li says there's no need. All he needs to do now is go to hell. Wen shoots at the stone above his enemy, the rock falls, crashing down on Wang. The dust settles, and Zhuan says only when it's his turn does he beg for help, calling him scum. A mist rises over Jian's body, radiating immense pressure. Meanwhile, outside the cave, Chen tells everyone to dig faster. The two are still inside. The beasts are exhausted until the strawberry cat senses an energy and is struck by it, collapsing. People say that young man's phantom beast fainted, and to move it quickly so it can get some air. They gather around the cat, saying to rest there a bit and not to worry, surely they'll rescue its master. In the hospital, Wen wakes up and asks if this is a hospital. Zhuan notices his two beasts lying on the bed beside him and thinks thank goodness he has them. Otherwise, he might have been buried alive in the mine with Wang. Someone approaches asking if he's awake. The protagonist asks if it's the doctor, but the woman says she'll introduce herself. She is the vice president of the Animal Tamers Association. Li is surprised and asks if she means the vice of Tianyun City's Animal Tamers Association, Bai Shi. She replies that's correct. Wen asks if she needs something from him. The vice says, of course, and it's about two phantom beasts. They investigated and found he has no animal tamer qualification certificate, nor has he registered with the association. So according to regulations, these two phantom beasts must be confiscated by them. Zhuan thinks no. If he loses his beasts, he'll lose his ability to protect himself, and he must keep them both. The vice tells him not to worry. She still has a proposal. They'll give him the chance to take the animal tamer qualification exam. If he passes, he can keep the phantom beasts. The protagonist asks what if he fails. The vice replies then he keeps trying until he succeeds. Lee asks if he can know the reason she is giving him this chance. The vice answers she heard from workers that during the cave-in accident, his phantom beast desperately tried to open the blocked tunnel. Wen asks, "And then?" The vice replies she thinks they are very unusual. Every wild phantom beast harbors hostility toward humans. The only difference is the degree of hostility. Only when an animal tamer forms a contract with a phantom beast can a cooperative relationship be established where both benefit. In other words, without a contract, there's no reason for a phantom beast to actively help a human. So she is very curious what method he used to make these phantom beasts willing to save him without a contract. Zhuan asks if she doesn't think he has the right or a reason to refuse. The vice says he's very clever, and it seems he definitely has the potential to become an animal tamer. The protagonist asks if instead of animal tamer, lab rat wouldn't be a more fitting description for him. The vice tells him to think whatever he wants. Lee asks when the exam will be held. She replies to call her once he's recovered. Wen asks if the miners are all right. The vice answers that soon he will know about the mine, but warns him it may get a little noisy. Until someone shouts, calling him and asking if he's awake and how he's doing. The nurse tells them not to shout in the hospital room. Zhuan thinks that must be the noise they were talking about. The vice mounts her beast and says goodbye. The policewoman says she's talking to him and asks what he's staring at, if he hit his head. The protagonist thinks maybe he should just pretend to have fainted. In a building, the vice arrives calling for her president and says this is a list of candidates participating in this year's Beast Tamer qualification exam and that he should take a look. The president asks if this is the especially talented boy she mentioned. The vice confirms and says she already informed him of the exam schedule yesterday. The president says no one else is around and she doesn't need to be so serious. The vice refuses and adds that he should try keeping a serious attitude during work hours. The president says in that case he really should look forward to it and wonders which of the two is the real genius. Then the phone rings. The president sees it's the laboratory calling and a voice asks if there's any news about the whereabouts of the test subject. The president answers no and asks didn't he say he would call if there was news, and then says he'll look. He ends the call and the vice asks if he needs her help to look for the escaped test subject. The president replies no need. This kind of troublesome, high-risk matter is better left to a middle-aged, out-of-shape guy like himself. The next day, people are lined up for the exam, hoping to pass. Lee is also there and thinks this is the Beast Tamer qualification exam. Then someone calls him. It's two guys who recognize him and ask where he went after training. They say they called his house and his sister said he went to the mines. And one adds the three of them agreed to become beast tamers together. Back then, they thought he gave up on his dream. Wen says something suddenly happened at that time and he urgently needed money. One of them says that although not bothering others is a virtue, he's dragging them down like they were too strong. Zhuan says that's not it, just that things were a little complicated. His partner looks to the side and asks if those two beasts are his, telling him not to say he's already a beast tamer. The protagonist replies he could say yes or could say no. The partner asks if those two have always been by his side. Lee admits that's true and that for some reason this cat can't form a contract with a phantom beast. They ask if such a thing exists. Maybe the materials he bought were too low quality, or perhaps a dishonest merchant tricked him with bad goods. Wen replies if they put it that way, maybe it's not impossible. A loud voice announces the Beast Tamer qualification certification exam is beginning, asking all candidates to present their tickets and enter the exam hall in an orderly fashion. They say, let's go. It's time to make dreams real, and the partner gives him encouragement. Inside the hall, the instructor welcomes them to the Beast Tamer qualification certification exam, explaining that this exam consists of 3 tests. The first test is a basic knowledge assessment. They will present several phantom beasts, and the candidates must write down their knowledge of them. The more detailed the writing, the higher the score. The second test is contract signing. They may prepare their own phantom beast or buy one there to attempt signing a contract. Successfully signing a contract counts as a pass. The final test is combat. They must control a phantom beast to battle others. Winning 3 matches counts as passing. Those who pass all 3 tests will receive Junior Animal Tamer qualification and enjoy certain privileges of a beast tamer. Then the exam officially begins. Manas are released, doors open showing beasts nearby, and the instructor tells them to begin writing based on their understanding and knowledge of these 3 phantom beasts. So the students complain about the questions from these years, saying they're too hard, and about last year's test, which didn't have that kind of problem. The MC looks at the spreadsheet and thinks this is basically an open book test for himself, and wonders if Gao and Lu will be fine. They seem to have completely given up. Lee, trying to help them, tells them to just copy what he writes. Both get really excited and say that, as expected of him, they knew he was the best brother. 2 hours later, the instructor says that, to make up for the wait, the results of the first test are already out, and that those whose names are called may stay for the rest of the exam, while those not called can try again next year. She starts reading the names. Chang, Li, Wang, Liu. The two partners get very excited that they passed and say, that's right, they want to become adopted brothers, and the instructor confirms the names mentioned above have passed. Gao and Liu are confused, asking what's going on and why their godbrother's name isn't there, since they themselves passed and it's impossible he didn't. Wen wonders what's happening and if the system's grading was wrong, but since his two friends passed, he asks if they copied his answers exactly. The two say they deliberately wrote some nonsense just to make their answers look different, and they're pretty good at those tricks. Zhuan wonders if the parts they changed were actually the correct ones. The instructor then announces that two people got a perfect score in this exam, Li Wenxuan and Kaisa. In the cafeteria, people talk about the guy who scored full marks, saying they heard it's his first time participating. Gao and Lu say he suddenly became the center of attention and that their older brother is practically a genius. The MC says that's enough, it was just good luck. They ask what he means, since luck is also part of skill, and why he's being so unnecessarily humble. Someone approaches, asking if he's Li, and it's Kaisa, who introduces herself. Wen wonders if she's the girl who also scored full marks and asks if she needs something. Kaisa replies that although he scored a perfect 100 like her, there's something she needs to remind him. She got 100 because the test only went up to 100, but he got 100 because that's all he needed. Lu stands up angrily, asking if she's looking down on his big brother and provoking them. Kaisa tells them to get out of the sun, since they cheated their way through, and warns them not to make her report them. Beside her is a python. Wen says there's something he needs to remind her. Her phantom beast has some abnormalities, and he suggests she check the system before signing the contract. Kaisa asks if he really thinks he can shake her like that, since she knows her beast condition like the palm of her hand, and all they know are cheap tricks. She warns him to pray he doesn't meet her during the doubles, or else she'll humiliate him severely. Later, someone knocks on the door. It's Kaisa, telling herself to keep moving forward and not lose to someone like that since he's better and can only be number one. She strokes her snake and says they'll work hard this afternoon. The python's eyes glow with a red light. The next day, somewhere outdoors, a voice says that examinee Zhang and the rat's contract signing was successful. Both get really excited, and Zhang shouts that he'll become a beast tamer. Gao says, speaking of which, the second test is basically free. Liu agrees, saying no idiot would bring a phantom beast that doesn't listen to them into the exam. The MC wonders if the strawberry cat heard that, so it won't hold back. The cat stares at him and the instructor calls his name. His brothers cheer for him and Li steps forward with his pet, thinking everything now depends on his cat, and tells them to start. A light shines on the ground and the strawberry cat starts screaming and slamming the ground, causing cracks. His two partners are confused, asking what's going on. Wen thinks he knew it, and people ask if he really has max luck, since no one's ever heard of anyone failing this stage of the Beast Tamer exam. The instructor asks if he wants to switch to a better phantom beast or keep trying. Zhuan answers there's no need, they'll continue as is, and thinks that although the success rate with the Frosthound is clearly higher, this time there's the support of the Beast Tamer Association's high-level contract formation. There's no better chance than this. No matter what, he has to make a contract with it today and tells them to try signing again. The contract fails, the strawberry cat jumps on him, and the contract failure continues. People comment that this is hilarious, that there's actually someone a strawberry cat doesn't want to make a contract with, and, as expected of a perfect stroke of luck, the drama is top tier. The MC is down on the ground, breathing heavily. Kaisa approaches and says she warned him. He only got a perfect score because of luck, and tells him to step aside so she can show what a true genius looks like. She asks the instructor to let her begin the contract. The teacher sighs and tells her to start signing. The magic circle lights up on the ground. Kaisa and her beast close their eyes, and light surrounds both of them. Suddenly, the snake shows a murderous aura, terrifyingly intense. Kaisa doesn't understand, and the python opens its massive jaws, releasing a deafening sound and crushing pressure. The instructor is about to be attacked, but Li pulls her to safety, thinking he told her to check it earlier. Panic breaks out as people run, asking if this could be phantom beast rage. Kaisa rushes toward her animal, asking what it's doing, but Wen grabs her arm, warning her not to go because her phantom beast is extremely dangerous now. Kaisa insists on being released, saying her Bing would never harm anyone. She moves closer, calling out that it's her. The python stares at her with dark, menacing eyes. Kaisa tells it to calm down, saying she knew it would listen, but the python strikes, throwing her far away. It then stares at her collapsed form and moves in to attack again. Kaisa wonders if she'll die there. She recalls the past when someone asked if she heard that she should learn more from Big Brother. She remembers her mother saying to look at how amazing her brother was, that she had to work hard too. Kaisa thinks about how every day she was told he was incredible, and that if she could just tame a phantom beast, she'd surely surpass him. As a child, she tried training her snake, telling it not to rest and to go faster. Back in the present, the python is about to strike, but the strawberry cat intercepts it. The MC asks what it's doing there and tells it to get out. Kaisa calls to him, asking why he's still there. The python rages on, lashing out at everyone while the cat fights it. Lee commands his pet, telling it exactly what to do, and the cat obeys. Kaisa can't understand. How can a cat with no contract obey his orders? Wen continues directing his cat, telling it to strike the weak point and punch its belly, and the strawberry cat follows through. The two beasts clash while the instructor watches. Two boys arrive, saying they received the alert and came to help. The instructor thanks them for buying time and leaves the rest to them. They say they'll take down the ice python quickly and later give the girl another phantom beast. Kaisa pleads with them not to kill it, insisting this isn't who she is and there must be another reason. One boy says it's impossible. No one can safely control a phantom beast in this berserk state. Zhuan argues that if they can't save it, they should at least stop trying to kill it. The beast is in pain, not just a broken tool. He asks if they still see it as a living being or just want to throw it away, vowing to do everything he can to stop them. One boy scoffs, calling him a brat who hasn't even signed a phantom beast contract and demanding to know who gave him the right to talk nonsense. The MC tells his cat he believes it wants to save too, and if it feels the same way, then it can't resist his contract. The cat looks at him, light radiates from both their bodies, and the strawberry cat roars. The two boys are shocked, asking how this is possible, how a contract can be formed under these circumstances. Smoke dissipates around the cat as the snake charges again, but the cat blocks it. Later, in a room, the vice president asks what exactly happened. The young man explains that student Kaisa's phantom beast went berserk during the contract signing. The details are in the report, but the cause is still under investigation. She asks how it was resolved, and he replies that the examinee commanded his own phantom beast to defeat the berserk ice python. The vice then asks if Kaisa is out of danger and wonders why her beast suddenly turned on her, if it might be connected to the phantom beast that escaped. She says she understands, dismisses him, and tells him she has something to discuss with the boy. The young man acknowledges and thinks that this kid, having a private talk with the vice, will probably soar high, and if he had known, he never would have offended him. The young man leaves the room. The vice president stands up and approaches the examiner, telling him he really manages to surprise her every time. Considering the skills he demonstrated during the exam, giving him only a junior beast tamer's certificate seems a bit low. The MC says it was just luck, but the vice tells him not to be so unnecessarily humble. Keeping calm and solving problems in that kind of sudden, chaotic situation is not something that comes from luck alone. She says this is the highest qualification certificate she can grant within her authority, and if he wants to go higher, he'll have to take the exam somewhere else. Lee is surprised, and the vice adds that with his abilities, she believes it won't be long before he can consider taking the senior beast tamer exam. Since he's now an official beast tamer, she has an important mission for him. Elsewhere, sticks are smashing glass objects into pieces. Men with clubs are destroying everything around. A boy thinks that the phantom beast of that girl didn't die, and if he had known, he would have used more poison. He also wonders who exactly is the tamer of the strawberry cat, because to subdue an ice python in berserk state, if he had known earlier, he wouldn't have gotten involved in this mess. His partner approaches, calling him boss, and says that everything that could be destroyed has been destroyed. The boss says that's fine, and they'll retreat. Suddenly, someone appears in front of them, telling them not to be in such a hurry to leave. The boys are startled, asking when he came in and who he is, smiling like that. One of them pulls out his weapon, saying not to waste time talking and to leave no survivors. The mysterious figure remains unharmed after being shot. They stare, asking how that's possible if he's not human. Then they claim he must be wearing a bulletproof vest and acting mysterious. When the boy tries to attack, the mysterious person blocks it and says the answer is wrong. A beast is summoned and strikes the boy. His companions panic, asking if it's actually a dark-type phantom beast, and beg him to spare them, promising to obey completely. The mysterious man asks who gave them orders. The boy says if he reveals that, he'll definitely lose his life. The man says since he'll be finished off anyway, he won't force him. The boys thank him, but the tamer says he's very good at getting answers from dead men. The monster moves in to attack them. They panic and say they'll talk. Attacks follow, and then, With all the boys lying on the ground, the tamer stretches his hand over one of them, saying he'll see what's left of his memories. He closes his eyes and begins to read them, seeing a beast and a blonde young man saying he caused some trouble for himself during the beast tamer exam. The bigger, the better. The tamer thinks, got you. Somewhere else, the MC asks if this mission isn't a little too difficult for him. The vice says, not to worry. Since he's reached the intermediate level of beast taming, it's time to tell him some things only intermediate tamers know. Lee asks things only intermediates know. The vice explains that in the past everyone dreamed of becoming Tico, but in the world today everyone dreams of becoming beast tamers and asks if he knows why. Wen answers that it's because beast tamers have status and phantom beasts. It's really cool. The vice says no. It's because becoming an intermediate beast tamer means the rules of the old world no longer apply to him. For example, no matter how strong a human is, he cannot withstand a bullet. That's just common sense. Zhuan asks if that's really it and if intermediate-level beast tamers can withstand bullets. The vice explains that intermediates, through certain techniques, can make phantom beasts take damage in their place. Soul Link is a secret art of beast tamers that only intermediates can cultivate. The tamer links his soul with the phantom beasts. During this art's effect, any damage the tamer suffers is transferred to the beast. As long as one side isn't finished, the other won't be finished either, no matter how much damage it takes. In another place, girls comment that the boy nearby is already a beast tamer at such a young age, calling it amazing. The boy is sitting when someone approaches, asking if his phantom beast is hurt. The boy replies yes, his phantom beast is right there. The tamer says it looks like he's very suited for this job of walking dogs, and that he'll look for him next time. The boy thanks him for the sponsorship. The girls watch and ask if he's just a stinky college kid walking a dog and why he was pretending to be all high and mighty since, from the way he acted before, they thought he was something special. The boy wonders what the problem is with walking dogs for a beast tamer. After all, just one trip lets him add 2 girls, and that's great. The girls also comment about the guy next to him, saying there's no way that guy could also be a dog walker. And at their age, it's impossible they're real tamers. The boy notices the MC walking by with his strawberry cat and thinks he knows he's one of them, a top-quality student from a first-class university, yet he couldn't even pass the beast tamer exam. Lee tells his cat to sit down there, and the boy comes over saying he's also a dog walker and asks how much he earns per walk. Wen is confused, asking about dog walking and pointing out that this is clearly a cat and asks if he's blind. The boy says he doesn't get it and explains that he must be a newbie. People like them, who temporarily take care of phantom beasts for tamers, are commonly called dog walkers. Wen replies that he doesn't need it and to call him later if he does. The boy says he's acting like a beast tamer, but everything is just scraps he's played with. Everyone knows that at their age it's impossible to be a real beast tamer, so he shouldn't try that on him. A car approaches. It's the vice president, apologizing for making him wait and saying she was delayed dealing with other matters. She calls him esteemed intermediate beast tamer and tells him not to mind. Xuan thinks she's teasing him. The MC gets in the car and the vice says inside are the mission details she mentioned last time, that he can take them home and read carefully later and to hold on because they're leaving. The boy watches. The girls are surprised that he really is an intermediate beast tamer, and the boy wonders if he almost offended one. At the training center offices, the vice says the reason she brought him there is mainly because she's afraid they'll make things difficult at first sight. Lee asks if they'll make things difficult for him. Bai explains that normally this kind of problem wouldn't happen, since the training center is a subsidiary of the Beast Tamer Association. But 6 months ago, the association, wanting to raise the overall strength of tamers, hired a senior beast tamer as the director there. What they didn't expect is that this senior beast tamer is unpredictable. If he's in a good mood, he'll teach tamers of any level, but if he's in a bad mood, no matter how skilled the tamer is, they'll be excluded. So over the past 6 months, she's personally brought beast tamers who passed the exam to study there, hoping to slightly improve the pass rate. After all, the city's beast tamer pass rate has been the lowest every year since that senior arrived, and the president is struggling to request more budget from headquarters because of it. Someone opens the door. It's Kaisa saying she's back. The vice apologizes for making her wait. Kaisa is surprised to see Zhuan there, asking if her sister fetched him and if he also passed. The python rushes over to play with him, and the MC says she recovered really fast. Kaisa pulls the snake back and says he's an enemy, and although he saved her during the exam, she will definitely surpass him in the future. Lee says he knows. Bai says not to waste more time, they need to find Master Pan. Elsewhere, a big guy says he bets he got that certificate through the back door. Wen asks what he means by that. The big guy replies that he thinks he became a beast tamer through connections. Nowadays, people relying on connections are everywhere, unless he can prove he really has the skill. The vice asks if he didn't also watch the beast tamer exam video the day before yesterday, pointing out that it was the student who resolved a crisis alone. Pan asks who knows if the video was forged and says besides subduing a patterned ice python, which is the most basic skill of a tamer, they'll have to prove themselves by passing a test. If they don't, they can forget it and asks if they accept. Kaisa asks why he's accusing them of cheating, saying they stood out in the official Beast Tamer exam, and asks why they can't just because he said so. The master answers that it's because he's the director of the training center. If he says no, they'll never again be allowed to take part in any Beast Tamer mission in their lives. Juan says that's enough, he understands, and he doesn't want to waste time. Just tell them what they have to do. Pan smiles and says he will face this. Kaisa watches and asks how this phantom beast got so badly injured, and who would do something so cruel to such a cute creature like the flame fox. The master says it was them, the beast tamers, who did this to the flame fox. Kaisa asks what he means by that. Pan explains that she's there to learn the secret art of beast tamers, the soul link. After learning it, they begin taking phantom beasts on dangerous missions, forcing the beast to suffer the damage the tamers themselves should have taken. When the beasts reach their limits, they're abandoned and replaced with stronger ones. He asks if they dare face this, the heavily wounded flame fox. He adds that it's extremely hostile toward humans now. He himself barely managed to get close, and if they're not confident, they might as well go home and play house with phantom beasts. The MC examines the flame fox, checks its data, and thinks he can see the poisoned status. He wonders what mutation means, and asks what Pan just fed it. The master asks how he knew he fed it something. Lee says to stop messing around and speak up, or the fox's life will be in danger. Pan replies that he only gave it a piato fruit for nutrition, and asks how that could be life-threatening. Wen thinks that dragon fruit is commonly used to feed fire-type beasts, and wonders why the flame fox would have such an adverse reaction. He asks if its injuries were caused by ice-type attacks. The master asks how he knew that and explains that he knows you can't feed a fire-type meal right after ice damage, so he waited until the frost wounds had subsided before feeding it. Juan thinks that's true. The abnormal status no longer shows anything related to ice, but it's still reacting badly, so there's another possibility. It must have been attacked by both ice and poison attributes at the same time. Under the interaction of the two, the poison is still spreading with the ice attribute. Pan is surprised and says he's never seen such a rare case. The MC says that rare or not, this is the most reasonable deduction. He also realizes that since the poison status carried an ice attribute, it triggered the berserk state. Everything fits. He asks the system if there's a way to save it. The system shows what to do and the required ingredients. Lee lists them: 600 G of black maple fruit, 120 G of green bamboo marrow, 200 G of silver frost grass, and a high-quality frost crystal. If he wants to save the flame fox, he has to prepare exactly those ingredients. The master asks if he really has a way to heal this beast. Wen says he'll save it. Later, Juan is cutting ingredients. Pan starts to say this creature is trying when Kaisa interrupts, asking if it's some kind of food therapy. The MC says it's ready. The master asks if it's even edible and not poisonous. Kaisa says he must be clear, giving the wrong remedy could kill it. Lee gives the preparation to the fox, saying it's already like this anyway, so she should trust him just this once. An hour later, the fox is vomiting, and Pan says it's been throwing up for an hour. It looks worse. Wen insists he checked. The ingredient amounts and steps were correct. There shouldn't be a problem. The master scoffs, shouldn't be? Just then, flames burst out behind him. Pan looks back and asks what's happening. Around the fox, intense flames erupt. Juan watches and tells it to embrace its new life. The fox changes form, evolving into an ice fox. The master watches and asks if that's evolution. The MC congratulates it for recovering and thinks that with the system's help, he might be able to evolve any phantom beast into a higher form. He declares he saved the flame fox successfully and asks if he passed the test. Pan wonders about the test, asking if this kid even realizes how incredible what he just did was, and if he's still worried about the test. He thinks diagnosing the illness, creating an antidote, and simultaneously evolving the beast. This is something even high-level beast tamers struggle to achieve. He admits he judged him wrongly before, and since he passed the test, he'll naturally teach him the secret art. However, he warns him, if he ever dares to deliberately harm phantom beasts just because he can cure them, he will absolutely not forgive him. Then he says no more words are needed and he'll now teach him the secret art. Lee feels something, and it's the ice fox pulling him. Wen doesn't understand and asks if there's something more. The fox licks his face as a form of gratitude and Juan says it's fine. Kaisa wonders if this guy really tamed an ice fox, and if an ice fox would truly take the initiative to approach a human. The MC says that now that she's fine, he'll be leaving. The ice fox lowers its head, and Lee gets smacked by the master, who calls him a bastard and says the fox wants to go with him, asking if he hasn't noticed. Wen puts his hand on his head and says his family's financial situation doesn't allow him to take on more, and It wouldn't be right to take it without the permission of its previous tamer. Pan says not to even mention that scoundrel. If not for him, the ice fox wouldn't have been hurt so badly, and that he personally had that bastard expelled from the Beast Tamer Association. So Wen doesn't need to worry. Besides, with his current family finances, how could he afford to adopt a fox? He then asks about the strawberry cat, saying that leaving the ice fox aside, strawberry cats are easy to raise. You can just feed them leftovers. Zhuan says that actually he also has an ice hound at home, so things are really a bit difficult. The master says that no matter what, ignoring the feelings of a phantom beast is cruel and he won't allow it. He then asks what Wen thinks about coming there every week to help treat injured phantom beasts, and says he'll pay him. The MC gets excited. Somewhere else in a building, the Vice is on the phone saying this was not what was agreed at all, and that no matter how talented Li and Kaisa are, they cannot directly participate in military operations. She asks if, besides that, didn't the military say before that they could simply observe from a distance? The director tells her to calm down, that the military was forced into this situation. Ever since phantom beasts appeared in this world, the rules of the world were overturned overnight. All nations, for their own purposes, are constantly capturing, training, and nurturing increasingly powerful phantom beasts. As long as they remain in the lead, they can guarantee their own safety. But the situation is urgent now. If others take the lead, then there won't be much control over what will happen. Still, she doesn't need to worry. The military will do their best to guarantee the students' safety. But they also have their own duties to fulfill. Elsewhere, many people are gathered with their beasts. Wen watches and thinks these people truly deserve to be called elite genius beast tamers of the province. The MC looks around and thinks that each of them actually has 2 phantom beasts, and each one is at least level 2 or higher. A vehicle approaches, everyone looks and comments that it's really a military vehicle, and they had only seen one on TV before. The door opens and a young man steps out. People also comment that this instructor only looks a bit stronger, since they all got here as elites who have seen the world. The 2 boys who were talking fall silent when they see the soldier's face. Their expressions change, and they ask what's happening and why their bodies are trembling involuntarily. Li thinks this is a killing intent, and it seems like he's testing their courage. The instructor smiles and thinks this year's batch isn't completely useless, then says first he congratulates them for having the courage to come here. The mission is to help the military subdue a powerful phantom beast, and these beasts are at least level 3 or higher. To keep them from wetting themselves the moment they see one, he'll conduct a short-term special training before the mission starts. The 2 boys say they're elites who passed the Beast Tamer exam in their respective cities. The soldier says that since they're confident, he'll start with them. They say fine, they'll show their strength, and he might have to excuse them if they can't hold back. They summon their beasts, a centipede with venomous fangs and a fire-horned bull. The instructor calls out the golden lion. The beast leaps from the vehicle, roars, and immediately charges the bull. Then the lion goes for the centipede and easily takes it down. The 2 boys are shocked, asking how that's possible and saying it was defeated in a single strike. The people around can't believe it ended in an instant, and Wen thinks it's actually a level 3 golden lion. The soldier says this monster is just the weakest of the dangers they'll face in the future, and warns them not to think they can easily pass the military test. Anyone without the courage to risk their life on the battlefield should leave immediately. This is the last chance. The military doesn't need cowards. The 2 boys ask if he's kidding, and if he's just sending them to die, then they walk out, saying they're giving up, and people around them start quitting too. Zhuan stays where he is and recalls the Vice saying with complete seriousness that this mission is extremely dangerous, but the military has a technology that could allow his sister to stand again, asking if he wants to try. In the present, the MC thinks he'll definitely pass the test and asks the girl beside him if she's sure she's okay staying. Kaisa asks what he means by that and if he's doubting her abilities. Li says that's not what he meant. He was just talking about her beast earlier and wonders if joining such intense training now might make it hostile toward her. Kaisa answers that her beast is very obedient and he doesn't need to worry. Besides, speaking of hostility, no one's situation is worse than his. The soldier says that those who remain, he assumes, have already made their decision, and now he'll explain the training plan for the next few days. They are all elites from the various beast tamer associations of the city this year, so he's sure he doesn't need to teach them much about commanding their own phantom beasts. Starting today, he'll teach them how to coordinate better with others to accomplish mission goals. At the moment, there are 12 people left, so they'll form teams of 3, making 4 groups. If anyone is socially anxious, they'll just have to deal with it since he's assigning teammates, but for now they can freely form their own teams. People begin talking to one another to form groups. Zhuan thinks it seems like there's no one he knows well there. 2 boys approach Kaisa, saying they're short one person, and asking if she wants to join them, claiming they're very strong and can protect her. Kaisa refuses, saying she's not interested in trash. The boy gets angry, asking what she just said, and orders his Thunder Rat to teach her a lesson. The Thunder Rat attacks, but it's frozen by the Python strike. Kaisa walks over to the MC and asks what he thinks about forming a group with her, since considering he helped her, if he lowers his head and begs, she might consider joining him. Someone approaches. It's a woman introducing herself as Ji-hee. She says she'd like to team up with him and asks if he'd be willing. Lee asks why and thinks she's very beautiful. Ji answers that when the instructor released the Golden Lion earlier, she noticed he was one of the people closest to the battle, but she didn't see a trace of fear on his face. Instead, he was very calm, so she thinks he would be a reliable partner. Wen says his phantom beast is this strawberry cat and asks if she doesn't mind, adding that she can laugh, but this cat isn't what it seems. He says it doesn't matter. Phantom beasts can evolve to become stronger, but people can't, right? She says since he was honest about his beast, she'll show hers, telling it to reveal itself, and the radiant lizard appears. Zhuan checks its attributes and is surprised. Ji asks, judging from his reaction, if he'll take that as a yes. Lee thinks having a level 2 phantom beast as a teammate will definitely be a big boost to their strength, and says he'll be under her care from now on. Someone slaps his hand. It's Kaisa, saying she was the one talking to him and asking if he's ignoring her, saying he can't just team up with some stranger like that. Wen asks if she means unknown origin, and if they're not all from different beast tamer associations. The soldier steps in, saying since the three of them are so close they can team up. Kaisa asks what makes him think they're close. The instructor asks if they really aren't, and if her phantom beast doesn't clearly like him a lot. Kaisa looks to the side and sees her snake cuddling Wen, and asks if she didn't tell it not to approach the enemy. The soldier thinks involving kids like these in a mission like this is really dangerous, and hopes they enjoy the peaceful moments while they can before stepping onto the battlefield. Later, in a hospital, someone is hooked to an IV. It's a boy. Bai approaches with the director. The boy doesn't understand what's happening and wonders why he can't make a sound. The vice tells him to stay calm. His throat is sealed and his vocal cords are damaged. It'll be very hard for him to speak, so for his questions, he just needs to nod or shake his head. In the military conference room, Bai says this phantom beast is evolving to level 3 by continuously devouring human lives. It must be eliminated before it completes its evolution. Otherwise, the whole city will face a devastating crisis. The director says next he'll explain the military operation plan. According to Liu Xing's intel, the beast's lair is in a cave deep in the mountain range. They need to attack the cave from the front, eliminate everything blocking the way, and finally, either kill or capture the phantom beast in the depths. Members of the Beast Tamer Association will block all exits of the mountain range, making sure the beast cannot escape the encirclement. And he asks if that's acceptable. The vice apologizes for her bluntness, but says this sounds even more dangerous than a frontal assault, asking if these children are really going to do something this dangerous. The director answers that to ensure the safety of the city's people, neither of them has a choice. Bai makes it clear that if things get out of control, she'll immediately withdraw the children. Lu says not to worry. While they bombard the beast with firepower, the young tamer's experience of the mission will feel no different than a top-class outing. In a forest, the soldier tells the students he believes they all reviewed the operation plan last night. The phantom beast is a level 2 earth type, a giant rockworm residing in a cave preparing to evolve to level 3. Once it succeeds, the entire city could be in danger. For the sake of the people, this mission must succeed. They cannot fail under any circumstances. The vice approaches and asks the boy how he feels about his first mission and if he's nervous. The MC is surprised to see her and asks if she's also participating. Bai replies of course she'll be going with the soldiers straight into the heart of the lair to suppress the beast. She leans close to his ear and whispers not to act like he did during the exam, because this is the battlefield. One misstep could mean life or death, and if he faces a situation he can't handle, he must retreat immediately with the others. Lee says he understands. Later, inside a cave, an energy spreads. People smell it, and the soldier confirms it's real. The vice says, although the giant rockworm is an earth-type beast, it feeds on carrion. These smells must be from the corpses of slain creatures. The soldier looks to the side, noticing numerous spiders approaching, and starts shooting at them with his squad. They don't stop firing for a second, flames spreading across the spiders. Bai orders the defensive phantom beast forward to hold the formation and block the horde attacking. The spiders advance and the tamer orders his ice hound to protect the vice. The hound breathes out ice, forming a frozen barrier, and Bai thinks she hopes everything goes well. On the other side, the MC asks what that is. They come across a stone. Kaisa asks if it's ore, since she's never seen anything like it before. Ji warns them to be careful, saying anything that clearly isn't natural is better left untouched. Lee agrees, saying they should be cautious. Besides, the military mission is there to protect them. Wen notices something and pulls his partner away quickly. The stone begins shaking violently and explodes. Smoke clears and a beast is summoned. Zhuan covers his face and wonders what's going on. If this isn't the phantom beast the military was hunting, and why it's here with them. He realizes this thing has completed its evolution, becoming a level 3 phantom beast, the Abyss Rock Dragon, Earth type. The beast roars, it slams the ground, releasing scorching flames. The MC shouts for everyone to run since they can't handle it. They all sprint. The monster releases an ear-splitting sound, they cover their ears, and Kaisa complains that the roar of this phantom beast is awful. Lee warns her to be careful as the spider approaches, but her python spits its freezing breath, stopping it. Wen thanks her for saving him. A voice says that the beast isn't roaring, it's calling its companions. Kaisa looks ahead in shock. Ji says it seems it doesn't want to let them out alive. More spiders approach. Zhuan orders the strawberry cat to attack, and the cat leaps forward, slashing through the swarm. Ji notes that while these phantom beasts are weak, there are so many of them, and their purpose isn't to hurt but to stall them until that massive thing in the back arrives. Kaisa's snake keeps freezing spiders, but she warns her partner that if this continues, the python's energy won't last much longer. The MC glances back, seeing the dragon closing in, and says it looks like there's only one path left. On the other side, a giant spider appears. Soldiers keep firing non-stop, but it doesn't even scratch it. The Vice declares they must suppress this Night Veil spirit spider. It's a defensive phantom beast with almost no offensive power, but if they defeat it, they can stop the beast inside the cocoon from evolving. The tamer commands his Thornflower Goblin to restrain its movements. The goblin releases vines that bind the spider's arms. Bai yells to target its back immediately since that's its weak point. The tamer orders his Ice Hound to attack the spider's back. The hound leaps and lands a direct hit. The spider crashes to the ground, eliminated. Soldiers cheer that they did it. The Vice thinks next, once they have the phantom beast inside the cocoon, the mission will be over. Bai goes to the wrapped webs, and when the Vice also touches the threads, a light begins to glow. Soldiers shout for her to be careful, but a huge explosion goes off. Bai stares and asks how that's possible if it's empty. He thinks it's impossible. They didn't stop anything along the way, there was no chance for it to escape. Then they hear a loud noise. The Vice runs, realizing it knew they were coming and made a false cocoon to trick them. It had left long ago to evolve elsewhere. She orders all tamers to immediately rescue the children tasked with cutting off the phantom beast's retreat path. That phantom beast has successfully evolved into an abyss rock dragon. They must protect the children. She thinks of Lee, telling herself nothing must happen to them. On the other side, thunderous sounds echo. The pressure in the air grows heavier. Wen holds his face, thinking his and Kaisa's phantom beasts are far too weak compared to the abyss rock dragon. Unless they strike its weak point, they can't harm it. Although Kei's level isn't far from the dragon's, it isn't an offensive beast. Kaisa asks if he didn't just say he had a way and what they should do. Zhuan answers they must strike the crystal on its head. That's the core weakness and the only way to damage it. Kaisa asks how they'll get there. The MC says Ji's beast is light type and asks if she can create illusions or something similar to fool the monster. Ji replies yes, but only for a short duration. Lee rushes forward and tells Kaisa to make an ice path for him. Kaisa commands her snake and the python breathes out ice, creating a staircase. Wen climbs, leaps, and tells Ji it's time. Ji casts her illusionary light curtain. The dragon is distracted. She says it's fooled, now's their chance. Zhuan shouts for the cat to finish it and the strawberry cat charges, and it strikes the crystal on the enemy's head, managing to crack it. The dragon begins to scream. They get excited saying they did it, but the monster grows even more furious. The MC says this isn't good. The previous attack completely enraged it. The dragon breathes fire toward Lee, but the strawberry cat jumps in front to protect him. The cat falls to the ground. Wen rushes immediately to his beast and notices the dragon approaching them. The girls scream no and tell him to dodge quickly. The strawberry cat rises and blocks the attack. Zhuan wonders what's happening. The strawberry cat is surrounded by a different aura filled with killing intent, and several system messages pop up, warning that it's going berserk. The MC asks what's wrong with it. The cat is holding the dragon's hand and looks different. It leaps across the ground, glares at the monster, and charges to attack. The dragon blocks, protecting the crystal on its head. The monster swings its tail, but the cat dodges, leaps onto its back, and attacks again. The cat keeps striking until it jumps in front of the enemy, targets the crystal again, and smashes it to pieces, bringing the monster crashing down. Lee only wants to know what's wrong with the strawberry cat and what the system message about rage means. Kaisa walks over asking what happened to the phantom beast just now, why it suddenly became so powerful. Ji asks how it reached that strength. Wen replies he doesn't know either. Someone approaches and says since it pursued him, he can't blame it. They all look shocked, asking how this is possible. A giant monster with wings and an aura of fire and ice asks what the strength of that strawberry cat is, and if it meets its expectations. Kaisa asks what's going on and if it can really talk. Xuan asks if the cat's power just now was its doing. The bird asks if it wasn't and says, isn't that kind of power exactly what he was so eager to find? It says it ignited his deepest fury, the fury of the tamer, strong enough to break all bonds, including him. The strawberry cat is in a stronger, more powerful form. The MC stares and asks what's happening, and how the cat became like this. More system notifications arrive saying the cat is going berserk, and for the host's safety it must be eliminated immediately. Lee tells it to calm down, but the cat is extremely enraged. The strawberry cat charges. Wen barely dodges, wondering how this can be. Kaisa yells to save that idiot quickly. Ji orders her beast to protect him. Kaisa begs her partner to think of something fast. Juan thinks he must find a way to do something, or everyone here will die. The MC, seriously, asks if it's going mad just because it didn't drink milk this morning, says it looks like it needs real discipline and taunts it to come closer if it dares. The cat glares and lunges. Lee turns and runs, thinking it only became like this after being near that beast. If they can get it away from that thing, maybe it'll go back to normal. Kaisa shouts, asking what he's doing. If the cat's already mad, he's provoking it even more. Ji tells Lin to quickly create an illusion, make the cat escape from that phantom beast. Kai leaps and casts an illusion curtain. The bird sees its reflection and says its people became experimental material, losing their lives on the lab table, and only it survived. Left with endless pain, humans. Let the researcher's proudest creation destroy you with its own hands. The bird unleashes both its elements of fire and ice. Ji asks if they can't block it, and the bird orders the cat to kill the human who enslaved it. The cat hears, the MC looks back, and its killing intent is even sharper. The cat tries to strike and manages to hit him. Lee is injured and thinks there's no way he can run all the way back to the military base. It won't work. The cat gets closer with its sharp claws, about to finish him, but someone arrives. It's the vice president. She rides in on her beast and casts spider webs, wrapping the strawberry cat, trapping it completely. Bai walks forward, saying it's been a long time, calling it experiment subject E06, and adding the president has been looking for it. The bird says it's been a long time, not expecting to see her here. The vice tells it to surrender. There's nowhere left to run. The bird laughs, asking surrender, saying she's daydreaming. It releases mana around its body and immediately attacks. Bai dodges and orders her little lion to strike its chest. The lion lunges and hits. The bird blocks and pulls away, saying this ends here for today. But next time, it'll wipe them all out completely. The vice orders her lion to chase it and not let it escape again, but it's too late. The bird gets away. Bai is furious it escaped and tells the lion to return. Later, elsewhere, the vice stands looking around. The MC approaches and asks about that phantom beast, why it hates humans so much. Bai says she didn't want to reveal such things, but Subject E06 was the result of an extreme experiment at the academy. Originally, it was an ordinary nighthawk, but was forced to undergo massive modifications and energy injections. During the experiments, it was tortured beyond imagination, witnessing countless companions dying horribly on the lab tables. For it, human cruelty has been carved deep inside. Lee asks if that's why it became like this, and why it helped the strawberry cat become stronger and forced it to attack. The vice replies that it wanted to use phantom beasts to take revenge on humans. Phantom beasts rebelling against tamers, eliminating tamers. That's the only desire keeping it alive. Wen is about to say something, but Bai cuts him off, saying he doesn't need to worry about that and should quickly go tell the two girls outside that he's safe. Juan leaves the room and the vice remains deep in thought about E06, Abyss Plume, Night Falcon, wondering how to end this. Elsewhere in a forest, the bird lies near the water, saying it used too much energy, asking if they caught up to Bai, cursing humans, wondering if one day it will, until someone approaches. The bird senses something, and it's a child, touching it with a piece of paper. The bird recoils and tells her to leave, not to touch it. The child says not to be afraid, she only wants to help, since it's badly hurt and if this continues it might die. The little girl pulls a fish from a basket and tells it to eat, that it needs food to recover its strength. The bird is surprised, wondering why she isn't afraid of it, asking if she isn't scared it will kill her. The child replies she's an orphan, and no one would care if she died, so she has no fear of death. The bird asks why she keeps living. The girl roasts the fish and answers, it's because the person who raised her once told her there are many delicious things in this world, and before eating all of them, she absolutely cannot die, and besides, it can try it too. The fish from this river is very tasty. The bird watches as the child beams with a big smile, then eats the fish, and the little girl comments on how delicious it is. Guys, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new content. Thank you.